very warm greetings of the day to all the viewers. I am Prakriti, a second year UG student of Department of Electrical and Electronics Engineering at Dayanand Sagar College of Engineering, Bangalore, on the behalf of Chintana, the EEE Department Newsletter team. With great honor and pleasure, I welcome Ms. Manognya Acharya ma'am, an alumni student of our very own EEE department from the batch of BE 2012-16. After her undergrad, she completed her master's degree from the Darmstadt University of Applied Sciences in Germany, which is one of the largest and most distinguished universities in Germany. She is currently working as quantum technologies research scientist at the National Physics Laboratory, London. It is very fascinating to know that NPL is one of the oldest metrology institutes in the world, and it is one of the most extensive government laboratory of the UK, which has a prestigious reputation in the world for its role in setting and maintaining physical standards for the British industry. A very warm welcome, Manognya ma'am, to the Alumni Interaction segment hosted by Chintana. So let's start the conversation, ma'am. Please share something more about yourself for all of us.
Hi, Prakriti, once again. Thank you so much for having me here, especially on a Sunday, I would say, and being so accommodative about the timings and the day. You've almost covered everything about me, when it comes to the academic side. So yes, I did my bachelor's in electrical and electronics in Dayanand Sagar between 2012 to 2016. Then I worked in Accenture for almost 10 months before I went for my master's in Darmstadt. Well, I did my master's in electrical engineering, but my major was communication engineering, so it's more on the telecommunication side. And I had the chance to do my internship and thesis in Siemens Healthcare. So that was part of my master's course. And after that, I joined here in London and at NPL. So working as a research scientist and, like you said, in quantum technology. So I work more as an RF engineer. So my day-to-day life involves a lot of measurements and experiments to perform and everything around it. So hardware, software, and also collaborating with other industries or universities. So we work closely with academia as well as UK industries. So that's the current role that I'm playing.
Okay, great. It's a rich experience you have. And ma'am, can you please elaborate on your current position?
Yeah, sure. So like I said, I did my communication engineering master's. So it involved a lot of something to relate with bachelor's. I can say subjects like field theory and signals and systems and DSP. These were the subject names that I had when I was in bachelor's. Not sure if it's the same. So it was more in depth in that. And that was something that I was really interested in. In Siemens, I didn't really get to work on that field. I had more of a research background, so that was where it started. And I got interested in, my idea was always to get into R&D, but that, like a stepping stone that I got was in Siemens, and therefore I joined NPL. Like I said, my day-to-day life involves work involves a lot of measurements and experiments. So in quantum technology, what I work in is in superconducting qubits. So I work in the calibration of superconducting qubits. Also, we have a new lab setup. So in that, we perform a lot of DC measurements for these circuits that we fabricate in our clean rooms. So for that, we have this whole setup which works at cryogenic temperatures. So it involves not just RF engineering, it involves cryogenic electronics and then also software because you have to automate all these experiments. And we work with teams which are working on calibrating these superconducting qubits using machine learning algorithms. So that's one of the projects that I'm working on, and it's called AutoQt if you're interested to check it out as part of the UK Research and Innovation Project.
Okay, so it's not no longer a electrical engineering. It has included all the branches of engineering into it.
Yeah, that's mostly because the R&D department in our at NPL, that's how it works. Most of them are physicists. I would say in my team, everyone is a physicist except for me. I'm an engineer, so there's a different angle to how they work. And since it's not something that you can have a whole software team working on something, it's not like that because a lot of people are working together and you're collaborating all the time. So over time, you have to develop all these skills. So that's something I really like about working in R&D, where you're not very specific to doing just one kind of job because it can get monotonous, to be honest. And here you get to learn every day something new. Every day you're looking at new tools to use, new software to learn, new simulations or something like that. And yeah, I love the job that way. So yes, it's very extensive in all directions.
Okay, so let's start from the beginning. How was your experience at DSI? What are some of the fondest memories of DSI you want to share with all of us?
It would be unfair if I say that there is just one fondest memory because unlike most of them, I was not a day scholar, so I used to stay in hostel. So my relationship with Diamond Sagar was not just going and attending classes and coming back. It was almost my whole life for 4 years, I would say. So I was in hostel, so it was not spending the whole day in the campus, quite literally, because I was staying in hostel, like I said. So yeah, I think I made a Dan and Sagar my whole family for those 4 years. So it was a great experience. I made a lot of friends, and also the classes were really interesting, and we would never bunk at that point. So we spent a lot of our daytime in the classes and learned a lot of things. So it was nice.
Okay, it's amazing. How did the college motivate you to pursue the role you are currently positioned at?
I always say that I'm very happy I took electrical and electronics as my specialization in bachelor's because the way I see it, I didn't not just learn just purely into power electronics or just computer science. We had this whole range of subjects which goes in depth, where you get not just an introduction but more in depth about all these different branches which come under electrical engineering. And because of that, I could pick up communication engineering as my master's subject. So although the subjects seemed very new during my master's, I wouldn't say very new because I had DSP and signals and systems and FT. So these subjects were had already built the foundation for me. And I realized not just that was not the only direction where I could go. I could go into embedded system. I could go into renewable energy. So it was I'm really glad that I took that subject because I could pick which major I want to take, and it wasn't like starting all over new or learning something completely different or not being eligible to even apply for those. So I would say that electrical engineering was the best choice that I made during my bachelor's.
Your answer would be motivating people who think that triple E is the toughest branch of engineering.
Yeah,
So
actually, funny
next
story.
question yeah,
Actually,
sure.
funny story that when I completed my 12th standard, I knew only very few branches. I knew only computer science, I knew electrical engineering, I knew mechanical engineering and civil engineering. That's all that I knew. And my father was my guidance at that point. So he pushed me to take electrical engineering because he said, okay, it has more scope and everything. And he saw my interest during 12th standard was towards that subject. So I took it up. And after, I think, in the fourth year or third year, he told me that, it's supposed to be the toughest branch. So until then, I had no idea it's the toughest branch. And I thought I was just, studying and doing my best. But at that point, when I found out, I realized that if I had found that out in the first year, I would have been a little scared, but that did not happen. Yeah.
So the next question I have for you is that what motivated you to choose this path out of the ocean of opportunities which are available after engineering? Like, was being a scientist or researcher is something you always wanted to do from your child?
Yeah, I always wanted to be a scientist. But to be a scientist, it's always this notion, at least the way I was growing up, I knew that you have to take pure science and go into BSc and MSc. which is not very motivating, at least not in my family, where everyone is either an engineer or a doctor. So uh, that is the idea I had. And I thought, okay, so I have to be an engineer only. But over time now, after applying for this job, I realized that it's not really like that. It's just a title, but the kind of work that you do is what counts, right? And being in research was something I was sure that I wanted to do, because during my bachelor's, I did my project in BEL, and that was also in the R&D department, and I really like the way they work. It's you have this flexibility to think, you have this flexibility to be creative and innovative, which is which is something that you should have as an engineer. Otherwise you're just very rigid and doing a defined set of things. It There's no creativity, there's no chance for you to grow. So I worked in Accenture, which was also a great experience, but I knew that that wasn't the path for me that I wanted to take as in terms of career. So I pushed myself to only apply for R&D jobs during my master's internship and thesis, and thankfully I got them as well. And that was the major, change for me, because I got to work there for almost a year and a half, and yeah, that helped me understand how the research works, and that was my aim, to get into research. So that is where I am today.
Listening you, I am able to understand what's the real essence of engineering,
Yeah.
which we all should inculcate. Ma'am, please share about your journey of preparing for your post-graduation at Germany. What makes German universities amongst the most sought after universities for pursuing studies in especially science and technology?
Germany was my choice from the very beginning, for a lot of reasons, because I had some friends who were already working there, who were already studying, doing their masters there, while I was working in for a year in Accenture. So I had gotten a really nice feedback from them. US is something everybody goes, but to understand that in Europe, and there is something outside of the US also was great to learn. And also, I was really interested in their culture, so that was another aspect. But and there's this whole automotive industry there, which is so booming, and that is where most of the electrical engineers get a job. And that's something that not just automotive, actually, there's also healthcare, but automotive is the one that's leading. So I knew that in terms of job opportunities, it was great. But I had to do a bit of research on my own. That is, not just get in touch with my friends, because they were like a few in number. I also used LinkedIn very extensively, where I got in touch with random people who are working in different companies to understand what their experiences have been, or how I should prepare for it. So I would say that if you know which country you want to go into, then it's just after that, it's just filtering job. So to go to Germany, they have like a lot of websites wherein you can go check out different universities. You can filter in terms of the language of the course, the prerequisite knowledge that you have, and you can literally filter out in a very nice way. Also, it doesn't have tuition fees, so you have a lot of universities coming under that category for people. Uh, Even I went through the public university, so it's very well defined. So you don't have to only depend on asking people, but rather you can do your own bit of research as well. So that was the main reason. And one question that I get asked a lot is, do you need to know German language? I would say it would be great if you do, but there are universities where they accept you even if you don't know, because your course, obviously, you will pick a course which is in English. But it's always nice to know the language when you're going to a country like that, and to get included in their culture, and that really helps when you want to apply for jobs as well.
So Germany has it's a very student-centric model.
Yes, there are a lot of universities, and there are a lot of Indians in all the universities. So you'll never feel that you're away from home as well.
Great. Many students want to know about how to build our profile during undergraduate college period if we want to get into research and development.
This is something that I did not think too much about when I was in bachelor's, because my path was defined that I would do a master's and get into R&D. So for people who want to start and work in India in R&D, I would say it is competitive. It's not that easy to get into R&D, but a lot of things that they can do is, other than just taking up courses in the university and doing projects, there's always a chance to update yourself with the existing new skills that's always coming up and probably not in your curriculum by taking up online courses. So that's something I have done in different fields, but that I did during my masters. So there are a lot of websites like Coursera and edX. That's something that really helped me because they have good projects, and some of the courses are free, so you can go through it and you can do it at your own pace. So you don't have to spend too much money on that. And the main thing I would also say is to get in touch with people or through LinkedIn, because that's a very powerful tool. You can always use it to network with people, and that's something that everyone should, build that skill at an early stage. I did it only after my masters, but it has helped me so much, wherein I would talk to different people, understand what they're working on, and there are people who are interested to spend their time, educating these early career people and early engineers who are just coming into the field because they want more young scientists or young engineers into their field. So they are willing to spend that time. And during masters, I also had the opportunity to attend a lot of career fairs. So if you find something like that in India, that would be also really nice. But be shameless and just network with people. Go ask questions, because only they can help you. If you don't ask them, they'll never know that you're interested in it. So that's something really important that you should do. Yeah.
So LinkedIn is a very powerful tool. Ma'am, I'm highly interested to know some brief details regarding your field of study in the master's program.
Yeah, so like I said, I did in communication engineering, and it was very much on the telecommunication side as I wanted. It has microwave theory, RF engineering, and also we had a very strong C++ course, which was called Advanced Programming Techniques. So that was a little difficult for me initially because we did not have that much exposure during engineering, and the last time I actually did something more in C++ was in my 11th 12th standard. So I'm glad the way that I took that course, because the way it was structured was, so the university that I went to is something that is not a very research university. It's for people who want to get jobs. So that's a very defined notion that everyone has, but it also works like that because the way the course is structured. So in that sense, they had this C++ and all these other subjects and a lot of labs related to that, like optical communications and mobile communications and satellite communication. So it was a very telecommunication based subject, and it gave me a good exposure into that.
So during your stay in Germany, what differences did you recognize in the education system in India and in Germany?
Uh, there are different universities in Germany. One is the TU, which is the technical university, which works very in a very research way. And there is the other, which I went to, which is the applied sciences, which mostly people take when they want to get more exposure to the industrial work culture, because the way the course is structured is such. So if you go to applied science like the way I did, you have almost a year of theory classes and labs in the university. So it's like classroom based education, and after that, another 1 year is usually internship and theses. Some of the universities don't have the internship, but I would say if you're looking for getting an exposure, hands-on work experience, it would be nice to look for universities which have that internship. Then there is TU, which is like I said, the very research based. It takes a little longer to complete, in my experience with what I have spoken to friends, and their internship is not mandatory, it's an option. So if you want, you can apply for it. But German companies, they like students who are coming with this mandatory internship. So if your university wants a mandatory internship, they will prefer you over giving it to somebody who's just a student and does not have it mandatory in the course. So I really like that difference in the structure because I wanted hands-on experience immediately after when I'm learning or, side by side. So I chose that. But there is this different way of, defining where you want to go. So you have that different structure. So that's really nice in the German universities. Also in the TUs, I know that if you want, you can take subjects which you like. There are some mandatory subjects that you have to take, but you have more opportunity to take different electives from different departments. We also had it, but they since it's a bigger university with more branches, it's there's like a huge portion of opportunity that you can take for electives.
Okay. So, ma'am, can you please guide us about the various opportunities that the EEE branch has to offer? Like, what are the scopes, emerging fields, and the upcoming innovations which are going to happen in this field?
I would say if you've taken EEE in your bachelor's, then you have a lot of opportunities. Like I said, that I was able to change to communication, uh, even though I do not come from an electronics and communication or telecommunication background, because our foundation is so strong that we can go into different directions. So there are people that I know who have gone completely into embedded side, which is again something that our bachelor's is structured in such a way that you are able to confidently take up that subject and you're eligible to take up. You can get into the tech or you can get into science like I did. And you have so many companies that is offering different kinds of work. So like I went from healthcare to now in a quantum technology. So they are two completely different things, but the nature of work that you do is important. For example, it was research, and now also I'm doing research. And these are transferable skills. So you will always find an industry where you can work. So before I joined NPL, I had no idea that I could use my RF engineering or microwave engineering knowledge into quantum technology. So at that point, I had no idea. And now I know why I can do it. I obviously I need to build up the physics side of knowledge of it, that which I did over time. But there are so many places where you can apply your knowledge that it's just it all comes with doing the right research at that point and reading up a lot of papers or journals that you can do during your bachelor's or even your master's whenever you want, and finding out where what is being used. So I feel like if you've taken EEE, your skills are transferable in any field, and there are a lot of things that are happening, not just the companies like Microsoft, Google, or IBM, but there are other industries, other departments where you can work.
I totally agree. EEE is a very holistic branch. It brings both electrical as well as electronics, which are very vast subjects on their own.
Yeah.
Now, let us shift to the non-academic side to break the monotony. What are your hobbies and interests, and which societies were you part of in DSI and in Germany?
I wasn't part of any big society, I would say, but like I said, that I wasn't a day scholar, so I was spending a lot of time in the campus. So it was either doing assignments or studying in the library, or being with my friends because I used to live with them as well. So I realized that very early that I have to have some kind of hobbies as well, and that is when I was in the Anand, I used to go for dance classes and music class as well as I used to go for yoga. So that helped me keep a balance in my life when things seem to be going too hectic, or when exams are nearing and you just want, oh, you can either go for a walk or you can go pursue one of your hobbies. So these three things that I used to do back then, something I continued even during my master's. I took up dance classes in the university and just was part of it. Otherwise, I also developed this interest of traveling at that point. So I joined student. These are like student associations. It's not something that you have to like register for or something like that. So these societies you'll find in any universities, I think, for either Indian students or international students, and they would go for some kind of day trips, which is just around, so you don't have to think too much about planning or doing anything. Just small activities or just meeting up, different international people. So that's something that I'm still continuing to do here. So I've joined groups wherein I can go hiking or just spend some time out in the nature and then come back, so that I'm also like, balanced in that sense.
Sounds exciting. Please describe about the culture in abroad. How does it feel being an Indian?
There were a lot of Indians. So it's called the name of the course was IMSEIT, where I stands for international. And the professor in the orientation every year makes the same joke, saying, "I think I should change it to Indian Masters of Science and not international Masters of Science." So there are a lot of Indians in Germany in each university, and I think it's the same in any other country as well. So. Uh, Luckily, where I was living, it was just 20 or half an hour by train to Frankfurt, which is another big city, and you have everything there. You have many Indian association groups, and even in Darmstadt, we had that with the students. So it never felt so alone there or different, but yeah, it's important that you make the right friends there to live that 2 years of your life there, which is very important, I would say.
Finally, I would request you to share some enlightening tips and advice you would want to give us, your juniors to follow.
Uh, I would say if you're very, very sure of what you want to do before joining engineering or after having joined engineering, then it's great. And if you still don't know which direction that you want to go to, also that is also fine, because everyone has a different pace of figuring out. I I know that I shifted from liking subjects like FT and signal systems to embedded and then going back to it. So I know, having gone through that phase and finally sticking to one because I decided. But it's okay to not know. Everyone has their own pace and it is fine. But just keep doing the research, because the more you talk to different people and understand their experience, you'll know what the field holds. Because learning in the classroom is very different from actually working on the subject as well. To apply that is the biggest challenge, and doing projects is a very great approach to it. And if that also feels not enough, probably you don't have all the resources to do it, then taking up internships or working under somebody, it's always great to do that. And I did that only during my masters, and I enjoyed doing it. This putting hands-on knowledge, getting this whole application-based experience is that something that I really liked, and I look forward to having those kind of experiences in life, even today. Even though I'm still working, I like to still learn from other departments what they're doing and go talk to them. So networking and getting to do whatever that you can do. There are a lot of courses online, so you can always take those up and do something even at home, or yeah, get in touch with somebody who can facilitate it for you. So I think everyone has internet connection now, so that's a really great boost. So you should use it to its maximum to get where you want to be. So yeah, that's something that I will tell.
Yes, that's why people say that college life is the most amazing part. We try, fail, and then learn. It's the most amazing part of, uh, like, from school, we don't get to learn that much, but when we are in college, we get to do things practically. So that is the most
Yeah,
amazing part of it. So
and
thank you so much.
even if you
Yes,
fail, it's completely all right. I would say that it's a good thing to fail early in life than to fail later, because you you would have reached this point thinking, okay, I have never failed, I cannot fail. And then when it happens, whatever it might be in whatever field, like whether it's at work or it's in academics, whatever that is, it's always okay. I think it's never a bad experience, it's a learning experience. And you should just take it as that and move ahead, because there are a lot of people who have failed, and it's not about them failing that matters, it's about how they got back, right? I might sound very spiritual and all that, but it's coming from experience. And yeah, I'm just saying that you will learn a lot of things, because when I was applying for internships, it was very easy. Initially, I got the internship, but I had issues with getting the offer. So there was a big delay. So while all my friends had started, I was still looking for internship because the offer did not go through. And at that point, I felt so disappointed that I got it before everyone. Why did I not get the offer and everyone's starting? So, that was one phase that I went through, and I can't finish my course without having done the internship. So it takes time. It's not about you stop, give up, and you just say, okay, that's it. I can't do it. It's about just doing it and not comparing yourself with others, and just having your own path and following it. So in the end, everything will work out if you keep working towards it. So that's one big lesson that I learned during my masters.
That was highly inspiring, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for taking out time from your busy schedule and to interact with all of us. And we got to know many things which we should have known by now. And it was a great learning, and it was great listening to you and learning from your experiences. And I'm highly grateful to the team Chintana for giving me this opportunity to interact with you. And I'm highly grateful to our respected HOD Usha ma'am for providing us with such opportunity of interacting with our alumni. And if anyone wants to get connected with link as we have discussed. Her profile can be searched on the LinkedIn and you can connect with her. Thank you, ma'am, once again. Have a nice day.
Thank you so much for giving me the chance to speak to all of you, and also see Usha ma'am and Satish sir. It's been so long since I got in touch with any uh, professors or faculty from Dayanand Sagar.
Yeah,
So
Manognya,
thank
thanks a lot for making time.
yeah,
Uh, Probably if any of the students show interest towards your specialization, we can surely
yeah,
connect
sure.
them with you. We can,
And even if it's not my specialization, I can always direct them towards other batchmates of mine who are in something, whatever they're interested in. So
sure, sure, we'll do that.
always
Thanks a
happy
lot,
to help.
Manognya.
No problem. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, Prakriti.